before today in Girdwood and Seward. Winds are going to be gusting to 55 miles an hour. Be advised as you're driving through Tourniquet Pass, the road conditions are going to be not as normal as they normally are, so take it. Welcome back. The warmer air on the University of Alaska Fairbanks. As you can see, the smokestack's going straight up, and the cooler air right at the bottom end, about Fort Wainwright. You see how the colder air is just pushing much of that exhaust down, and turned out to be a rather nice day, though. Thank you very much. We're going to continue this, possibly clouds and snow for Friday, but for the last 2 days, it's been thoroughly awesome. When you look at a day like this, take a look at the radar. It's just relatively quiet all the way through the interior, but the temperature is a little bit different with respect to temperature inversions. 5 below is the recorded high for Fairbanks, and the actual official high is taken at the airport. And there were temperatures of higher elevations, say like at the University of Alaska Fairbanks, like about 6, 7 above today. Take a look at the current temperature of the highs for Fort Yukon today. 24 degrees below zero, single digits throughout much of the interior. 18 for the high in Cantwell. Current conditions, let's go outside and take a look at what's happening right now. Clear, 9 below, relative humidity at 77%. The winds are calm right now. Barometer, that high pressure just holding everything steady at 30.25. You can look at the almanac for today. It was on this day, 1981. It was 43 degrees, 57 below. The record low set on this day all the way back in 1947. We gained 5 minutes and 51 seconds of daylight, and we will continue to gain all the way through June 21st. The temperatures around the interior for today. North Pole right at about 10 degrees below zero, but otherwise single digits throughout much of the interior. And when we talk about the temperature inversion, you can go as high up as the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and you can tell the difference right off the bat. This morning when I took a shot of the sunrise, it was 6 above. It actually got up to 9 above zero for today, but that is the pattern that we've been having for the last couple of days. One more day of it as we get ready for a change. Around the state, the warm spot today took place at Annette Island in southeast. It was a balmy 50 degrees, 25 degrees below zero in Bettles. That was a cool spot in the state of Alaska for today. Alrighty, the big picture looking at Alaska itself, of course, high pressure is the dominant feature in our weather pattern over the last couple of days. It will remain that way, but we're going to go through a change. Now, kids, because I wrote an article in the North Star Weekly, we were talking about, what does those L's and what does those H's mean? Well, if you can pick up the North Star Weekly, it's out. There's an article explaining all this. But just to give you a heads up, and I only have 3 minutes to do this, when you look at an L, think of it as lousy. Yeah, think of it as lousy, or light air. Light air rises, forms of clouds, and gives us precipitation. When you look at the blue H up here, think of that as happy, or happy air, heavy air, sinking down, clear skies. The pattern that we're going through right now, this pattern is going to start to weaken, and all the moisture in the Gulf of Alaska is going to start to move up over the Alaska range as early as Friday, and the possibility of snow is in that forecast. The first indication that you will see of that is that the winds will start to pick up. That being said, for tonight, it's going to be relatively cool. Dress warm, throw some bunny boots on, and you might want to throw a sweater on too. 15 degrees below zero for the overnight low, 25 degrees below zero for the overnight low in Fort Yukon. We're going to top out tomorrow to a high of 9 above. Take a look at Cantwell, 30 for the high for tomorrow throughout much of the state. The further north you go, the colder it gets. In the mid-30s for South Central, the upper 20s for Southwest Alaska, also in the low 30s for Nome, in the 40s for Kodiak and Juneau. Lower 48 weather, Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, also Salisbury, Maryland, Norfolk, Virginia picked up snow today and is actually starting to move out toward the Atlantic Ocean. Otherwise, this disturbance here now that the snow is starting to pass, here comes the cold air right from Canada. And when you see this coming down, you're going to look at temperatures 16 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, 19 in Chicago. Otherwise, temperatures are starting to warm up for Los Angeles. The warm spot in the lower 48 took place today off of I-95, the Palmetto Expressway at Homestead Air Force Base, or Homestead, Florida itself. Homestead Air Force Base is actually in the same place. 75 degrees was the warm spot today. It was 15 degrees below zero in Jordan, Montana. Jordan, Montana is about just southeast of Great Falls. There you see the temperatures for much of the lower 48, and if you're planning on heading to Seattle, look for temperatures in the low 50s as early as tomorrow. With the Fairbanks and vicinity forecast, should be a good night to look for the northern lights. Otherwise, it's going to be relatively clear. It's going to be relatively cold for this evening, and then for tomorrow, start to see a warm up, start to see the winds increase, start to see the possibility of precipitation in the form of snow flurries for Friday. You'll really warm up on on Saturday. And Saturday and Sunday, not a bad day to go snow machining. Otherwise, you'll cool off as early as Sunday, going into Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So kids, pick up the North Star Weekly and you can see what those L's and what those H's really, truly mean. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got. Kevin Wells coming up next with sports, so stay with us.
Joins us with virtual reality.
James Allison, now you've seen how modern technology helps us explain the weather. Well, tonight we're going to take you a step further with a real flying lesson. Welcome back. Now, this is my home 5 mornings a week in front of this weather map right here. Now, we forecast the weather using a variety of graphics and maps. They are all tools that help us visualize the weather. For an example, the forecast could be snow, mainly along the mountains. We show you a map, but what if you could really see why the snow falls along the mountains but might not make it to the Anchorage Bowl? Let me show you. Thank you very much. Follow me. So we here at the Channel 2 Weather Department thought it would be a real good idea to take you up and have you take a look for yourself. From Lake Hood, we are heading east up the Anchorage hillside. As you can see, hilltop ski area just below us. When we say snow, mainly along the mountains, and show you a map, this is what it really looks like. This section of the Chugach Mountains on the east side of Turnagain Arms, approximately 45 miles across, with elevations ranging from 3,000 to 6,000 feet, even higher in some places. If snow is tracking from the Gulf of Alaska through Prince William Sound, a good portion of it falls up here before it makes it down the mountains and into Anchorage. Why? It's higher and cooler up here. And the Chugach Mountains are just one of the ranges storms get caught up in. To the south, the Kenai Range can slow things down, and to the north, the Talkeetna Mountains can catch a lot of snow headed our way. But sometimes storms have a clean shot at Anchorage. The view from Cook Inlet looking east toward Knik Arm. If a snowstorm is coming up Cook Inlet, passing through Homer or Kenai, there's hardly anything that would prevent it from dropping a heavy dose on Anchorage. From this view, it's wide open to the Mat-Su Valley, which is why we can more easily predict snow when it's coming from this direction. That's the view from up here. And our job would be easier if it was that simple. Unfortunately, in Anchorage, we typically have a number of weather patterns happening at the same time, which can make forecasting a challenge. So now, when you look at one of our maps, you got a really good idea of what it really looks like out here. Boy, it's cold out there.
Have a seat, warm up.
Now, we don't always have a plane to forecast the weather at our disposal, which is why, we have the Doppler,
Sure.
We have satellite and the National Weather Service to help us prepare on what's going on so you can figure out what the weather is going to be for tomorrow.
Just curious, Michael, there are certain parts of Anchorage where you're looking around, it looks like the city is absolutely surrounded by mountains to the north, the east, the south, and even across the inlet to the west. How many are actual different ranges?
Well, let me explain that. You got the Chugach Range to the east of us. You got the Kenai Mountains to the south of us. You have the Wrangell St. Elias, which is to the southeast. You have the Talkeetna Mountains, which are to the north, and they merge with the Alaska Range, and that's a lot of real estate.
And is the Alaska Range to the west across the inlet?
Well, it wraps around.
Okay.
So you have the Talkeetna Mountains in a northerly direction. The Alaska Range wraps around. You got Mount McKinley on your left. You've got dozens of mountains. You've got a lot of real estate, and snow is going to suck up, those mountains are going to suck up all that snow before it gets to us.
Sure, you had a beautiful flying day. You and Russ
Yeah, Russ Flying Service took us up, and I want to thank those guys for taking us up because we were at 9,000 feet.
Wow.
Gorgeous day. Very little wind because it's always windy around Turnagain Arm, but it was just beautiful.
Our newscast tonight for the